Presidential Campaign by Alison Becker, Trevor Dauphin, and Sierra Parks. I promise you, I will always listen to your voice. I will fight for your families. I will work every single day to make sure America is the greatest nation on earth. Barack Obama. Our presidential candidate is Joe Baker. He is 54 years old, he's a married man, and he has 3 children. In his past, his occupations were a lawyer and a college professor. Joe is a part of the Republican Party, and together we have found this YouTube video to help describe what the Republican Party is and a lot of what they do.
As of the 4th Republican debate, 15 candidates are left competing for the GOP's presidential nomination. Although the candidates have expressed widely differing views, at the heart of party politics is holding the same values and beliefs. So what exactly do Republicans believe? To start, the Republican Party calls itself the Party of Opportunity, referring to the idea that in the U.S. there should be equal pursuit of opportunity for all. To achieve this end, they believe there should be limited government interference in daily life as it leads to a better functioning state. This means fewer business regulations and smaller bureaucracies in public institutions. The figurehead of the modern conservative movement, Ronald Reagan, explained it best. The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are,
"I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
When it comes to the economy, Republicans tend to believe in the power of the free market to generate wealth. This is an idea espoused by Reagan's supply-side economics, colloquially known as the trickle-down theory. In this system, it's believed that low taxes for the rich will prompt them to invest in businesses, thus creating more jobs, causing the wealth to trickle down to the poor. This theory was most recently seen in the George W. Bush-era tax cuts for those making more than $200,000 a year. Today, this is accepted doctrine in the Republican Party. The most recent party platform, ratified in 2012, espouses the belief that any American who works hard, dreams big, and follows the rules can achieve anything he or she wants. As a result, Republicans don't believe in many social services like welfare or a single-payer healthcare system. Aside from Medicare and Medicaid, Republicans prefer to stick to private insurers. Repealing Obamacare is a crucial part of their platform. Republicans also tend to hold conservative views on social issues. Despite gay marriage bans being ruled unconstitutional in 2015, candidates like Ben Carson and Mike Huckabee have expressed their opposition to the idea. The 2012 platform opposes a redefinition of marriage and maintains an anti-abortion stance. Republicans are also known for supporting the military. Ever since Theodore Roosevelt's presidency, the GOP has advocated for American exceptionalism and intervention around the world. Republicans believe this is possible only through a strong military. Today, the platform advocates peace through strength, promoting American ideals of freedom and democracy while maintaining a formidable army. But today, the Republican Party has seen internal instability. Within Congress, far-right members have forced the unseating of the Speaker of the House and prevented party unity despite a congressional majority. This split has threatened to divide the Republican Party. Clearly, there are many types of Republicans, from free market conservatives to the religious right. The diversity of views within the party is astounding. That being said, Republicans do all seem to agree on 2 things: lower taxes and smaller government. Now you know what Republicans believe, but what about their more liberal counterparts, the Democrats? Find out in this video.
Today, Democrats still believe in the power of government to provide a just and equal society. Democrats advocate stricter government regulation on big business and larger participation in the social safety net.
Thanks for watching Tested News. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos every day.
Joe's plans for rallying the troop involve multiple things. One of the main things that he will do is share some of his beliefs. And some of his beliefs are to reduce government spending, convince the troops that his fight is worth fighting for, give the troops the hope that they can win, because that's what the main goal is anyway. And to prove that our troops can fight together as a team, because like many say, teamwork makes the dream work. And without teamwork, things would be much harder than they would be if they were done on their own. The way that Joe would pull in other voters is to promote the good things about his cases, which are to promote less tax spending and to promote less government spending. If the government has less money to spend, or less budget of the money that they're willing to spend, it would give the Americans the opportunity to not have as much tax, which would allow them to have more money coming into their paychecks and staying into their paychecks, instead of them earning their money and then it going into taxes. Overall, a lot of the Americans would be happy with this less government spending, because since the Americans work their hours, they generally like to keep all the money that they work from their hours instead of having to give it to the government, which is already billions of dollars in debt. There are also multiple other social media accounts that Joe could use to get more voters to appeal towards him. There are social media accounts like Facebook, and Instagram, and Twitter, and YouTube, and Tumblr, and with today's society of advanced technology, he feels that lots of social media accounts would best enhance him and the reasons for why he's running for the presidential candidate and for how he wants to make America a greater country. A lot of the people that support Joe in his campaign are the conservative religious groups, because they are for anti-abortion and believing for the pro-life group. Self-employed people who are business owners, and they like the idea of the less taxes, because then they won't have to spend so much taxes for owning their businesses and on their businesses. So then overall they'd be making a lot of money. And the big businesses for the same groups and reasons as the business owners, because they want less taxes so then they can make as much money as they can and keep the money that they earn instead of having to give it to the government for their spending. These big businesses can involve companies like Google or Amazon or Target or lots of other big businesses that are very popular. The way that Joe will get a sense of what is important to his voters and his supporters is to listen to what they have to say. And this one is a big one, because many people feel like they don't get enough of a chance to say how they feel and what they think of certain issues. Joe will also make sure all of his supporters and voters don't feel any less important, and making them feel important will be one of his main priorities. He's really big on not ignoring anyone, because he realizes that people don't want to feel like they have any less value than they are, because being heard is something that is important in the eyes of lots of people. And to show how listening to others is important, here's a short video explaining the reasons why listening to others is one of the most important things you can do.
Listen, his or her feeling of personal value increases. He or she feels more worthwhile and important as a human being. You can actually make another person feel terrific about himself or herself by listening in a warm, genuine, caring way to everything he or she has to say. Listening builds self-esteem in the person who is being listened to. When a man or a woman go out for the first time, they spend an inordinate amount of time talking and listening to each other. They look into each other's eyes and they hang on every word. They are each fascinated by the personality of the other person. The more each listens to the other, the more positive and happy each of them feel, and the stronger becomes the bonds of affection between them. Now, the opposite of listening is ignoring. You always listen to that or who you most value. You always ignore that which you devalue. The fastest way to turn a person off, to hurt their feelings, and to make them feel slighted and angry is to simply ignore what they are saying or interrupt them in the middle of a thought. Ignoring or interrupting is the equivalent of an emotional slap in the face. Men especially have to be careful about their natural desire to make a remark or an observation in the middle of a conversation, especially when talking to a woman. So one of the ways that you can make others feel important is to listen attentively to what he or she says. Also, you can avoid interrupting the other person by slowing down and pausing for a few moments after he or she has stopped speaking. Thank you for viewing this video. on how to make others feel important by listening intently to them when they speak. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button below and click on the link on the screen to subscribe to my channel.
The support for Joe's campaign will come from multiple ways. It could come from investors or famous big-name people that believe in what Joe believes in. Because there are many different people in the world that have lots of money that would be willing to donate it to causes that they believe in. People like actors or famous sports stars or just big-name icons. The beliefs that Joe supports and has go along with a lot of the average and normal beliefs for the Republican Party. Some of his beliefs are pro-life, which is for anti-abortion, the non-gay marriage, pro-death penalty, anti-government spending, and the tax cuts. And with all of these beliefs, the reason that Joe believes them is because he believes that all of these can help propel our country into a better nation and take that next step into taking for what will need to happen to truly make our country the best that it could be. The way that Joe will fund for his campaign is that he will have fundraisers through multiple dinners or speeches or conventions or rallies for all the different people that support him and also want to go off of what his beliefs are. He would also receive money from super PACs and matching the funds. The way for funding his campaign is also connected to a lot of reason for his support, which again was getting investors and connecting to people who did have a lot of money and who would believe in the same things that he believed in. Joe's plan for the country is to continue to push and support in all of the areas that he believes in. And a big example for this one is for the pro-life, as we can see for an example from this video. This video is a great example for how Joe will promote and show all of his ideas. And if he can make all of his ideas as heartfelt to everyone as this video is, then he feels that more people would support him and continue to want to help him with his campaign.
What is the most important aspect of the United States of America? What is the thing that we fight for all the time? Why is it that we have militaries that go out and what is it? Freedom. Freedom. What is the opposite of freedom? Slavery. The ultimate form of tyranny is slavery. Slavery is the ultimate form of tyranny. Nobody's ever studied slave laws consistently in school. My next question is, if we don't study slavery in school systematically, how will we ever know when tyranny is coming at us? How will we ever see tyranny coming at us if we never know what it actually looks like? Think about it. I'm going to share one with you real quick, a couple with you real quick. Written in 1705, originally in 1662, that all children born in this country shall be held bond or free only according to the condition of their mother. That says that if your mother was a slave, when you're born, you're automatically a slave. If your mother was free, you got lucky. You're automatically free. That's what that law says. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is the law that recognized and sanctioned the institution of slavery in Virginia in 1662. This is a repeat law. I want to delve into this very briefly because you need to understand what this means. This law says that another organization, another entity, or another individual can determine your worth before you're even born. I will repeat. An organization, an entity, or another individual can determine your worth before you're even born. Where does that exist today in our society? where else does that exist today in our society? Who said it? Abortion. Derived from the same mindset as the law that sanctioned and recognized the institution of slavery, the ultimate form of tyranny. Determine somebody's worth before they're even born.
Joe's plan for winning the general election is to first point out the differences between his and his opponent's campaign and hope that the voters will go with what you believe in. Obviously, not everyone is going to be on your side, but that's kind of how things are interesting. You really want to show the difference between you and your opponents, so then the voters can find out what they truly believe in and hopefully go towards Joe. Joe will also point out the bad in the opposite party, which is the Democratic Party, so he will show what's bad about democracy. And a good example about what many citizens would think is bad about democracy is the federal spending, and how the government wants to get more money to spend when they're already billions of dollars in debt to this day. And the way they want to have more money to spend to prevent them from getting in debt is to get more taxes on the people. And to get more taxes is to take away the money that the people earn for the hours they work. And a lot of people find that that isn't right because they want to keep all of the money that they earn because it's their hard-earned money that they spent their own time working to get. A reason that the voters should vote for Joe is because he believes in lots of given rights, and one of the given rights is believing in the protection of gun ownership as stated in the Second Amendment as the right to bear arms. And lots of people are having controversy over this issue, but Joe sees it as it was in the amendments before and it should continue to stay in the amendments, even though there may have been new problems coming up and new scenarios, but he still believes that people have the right to own what they want to own. Joe will go towards these issues with the voters because this isn't the only issue, but this is a very big issue to a lot of voters. And here's a short clip as to why Joe believes in the way that he does.
In the wake of numerous mass shootings, U.S. presidential candidates have been quick to politicize the issue, with many calling for stricter or looser gun control regulations. Despite generally agreeing along party lines, each candidate has her own interpretation of what can be done to decrease the number of shootings. So we wanted to know, what do the Republican candidates think about gun control? Well, across the board, each candidate has expressed overwhelming support for the Second Amendment. Specifically, there is an open distrust of the government and congressional Democrats in crafting any new gun legislation. They distinctly oppose gun control on principle. But when it comes to the specifics of who can and cannot own a gun, there is actually considerable dissent among the candidates. It is broadly acknowledged that there are certain people, for example, criminals and the mentally ill, who should be barred from owning guns. Chris Christie has advocated for and passed bills creating more comprehensive background checks, which include mental health records. On the other hand, Rand Paul and Ted Cruz once threatened to filibuster a similar federal bill and clarified that guns should only be available to responsible, law-abiding citizens. Marco Rubio has avoided the question of expanding background checks, instead suggesting that current laws already address the issue. He has said that increased checks would not have prevented the terror attack in California, and that the real issue is violence, not guns. Chris Christie actually makes the same point of addressing violence over guns, but Christie is actually one of the few candidates to support certain forms of gun control. His state, New Jersey, already has a ban on assault weapons. Christie does maintain that his city has too many handguns and supports gun control to protect police officers. Ben Carson echoes this idea, saying that semi-automatic weapons should be limited in cities but allowed in the countryside. The actual method of firearm enforcement is also a contentious topic. The ability of people on the no-fly list to purchase weapons was brought up to Carly Fiorina in 2010, which she opposed on the basis that the list is poorly maintained. Others, like Ben Carson, have said that registering gun owners simply allows the government to take your guns. As for Donald Trump, well, Trump used to be a big supporter of gun control and wrote about it extensively in his 2000 book, The America We Deserve. But this election cycle has seen him, Kasich, and others decry assault weapon bans as failures. And like Jeb Bush, Trump now believes that expanded background checks are a bad idea. Still, Trump once agreed with Democrats that high gun ownership was the reason for a high murder rate, an idea which most candidates have mostly avoided addressing in the context of gun control. Overall, Christie, Carson, and until recently Trump have expressed the most lenient views on gun control, while Bush, Kasich, Cruz, Paul, Rubio, and Fiorina have made staunch support of the Second Amendment a cornerstone of their campaign. What does the Republican Party believe when it comes to guns, abortion, and other hot-button issues? Learn about the GOP's stances in this video. To start, the Republican Party calls itself the Party of Opportunity, referring to the idea that in the U.S. there should be equal pursuit of opportunity for all. To achieve this end, they believe there should be limited government interference in daily life as it leads to a better functioning state. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on our new videos.
Joe's plan for Congress to work with it is to compromise and to not always be so strong-headed and strong-willed to get his only thought in way. He is going to realize that Congress obviously will believe in different things and that he can't get so butthurt about everything that even though it may not go his own way. Joe is also going to make decisions with the majority of the population in mind, and he's not going to think just about what's going to benefit him. He's going to think about what will benefit the nation as a whole. The higher approval ratings give more pull with Congress and make it easier for them to compromise, which goes back to Joe's original thought of compromising. Joe has many different ideas for addressing his critics. He will first point out that their viewpoints are different and not everybody is going to agree with one issue and one solution, and that Joe is only trying to help the majority of the population and not just one certain group of people. So even though a certain group of people may be fighting against him and saying that he's not right and virtually saying that he's not a very good president, he will try to show them how he sees things and how it will benefit the country as a whole. With that, he will also try to prove and show the critics how his views are right and that he truly is trying to do what's best, even though they may not see that. And there are also many issues as to what will address the critics with his views for pro-life and the death penalty. Now, with everything in mind, we want to remind you that a vote for Joe is a vote for a better and brighter future. Thank you.